What was that? Why did I waste 7 hours yesterday watching this polished garbage again? I feel like I keep making the same complaints over and over. I keep repeating myself because it seems like I am the only one, or maybe I am one of very few who are talking about this. The mainstream sports media, they damn sure refuse to talk about it. God forbid they piss off their masters in the National Football League. Don't worry, Daddy. We will keep polishing your turds. We won't tell anyone that your league absolutely sucks. There's just no other way to say it at this point. The current NFL product sucks. I mean, it sucks. The question is why? How in the hell did we get here? How did this ultra competitive league become a flaming ass fire? How did we go from witnessing the greatest group of quarterbacks that the league has ever seen to watching quarterbacks who lack the ability to complete a simple screen pass? How did the NFL go from being must-see TV to being get off my TV? You know, years ago when I was single, I was cleaning out my pantry and I discovered hundreds of what I thought were rat turds. Uncle KC is not afraid of raccoons. I don't scream like Shannon Sharp. Hey, it's me, Shay Shay. I don't scream like the grown man who calls himself Shay every time I see a roach, which rarely happens inside my house because my wife cleans daily and I have the house treated every quarter. I'm not bothered by most friendly insects or rodents, but Uncle KC does not get along with rats. Years ago, when I discovered hundreds of little turds in my pantry, I immediately called my family friend who owns a pest control company. He comes out the next morning and tells me that the turds in my pantry aren't actually turds. It was incredibly old rice that had been hidden by everything else I had in the pantry. We laughed about it. He was laughing at my irrational fear of rats. I was laughing out of relief that there weren't rats in my house. As we were talking, I told him that I initially thought I thought a single rat had gotten inside and was using my pantry as its own personal toilet. One day he doodles by the rice, next day he drops a few turds by the spices. He looked at me and said, "You never have a rat. If you ever suspect rats or mice are in your house, it's never going to be just one or even two. If you actually see a rat in your house, you can assume that there are dozens of rats living in your house that you're not seeing." I was reminded of this story yesterday as I was fighting to keep my eyes open watching this incredibly boring NFL product. There were some egregious calls throughout the league yesterday, especially in that Giants-Eagles game. Now, some would say that these calls were intentional. Some would say that the fix was in. Late last night, Pablo Torre, he reported that NFL Hall of Famer Antonio Gates was involved in the NBA gambling scandal. It makes you wonder how many other NFL players are involved. You see, gambling is like rats. When you allow your house to become infected with rats, you never have just one. When you allow the disease of gambling to infect your league, you never have just one player involved, one coach, one referee. It starts with one, and before you know it, the entire league is compromised. The disease of gambling spreads rapidly. Unfortunately for the NFL, I don't think the disease of gambling is the biggest problem in the league. The biggest problem right now in the NFL, the vast majority, the overwhelming majority of teams in this league are unwatchable. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel in the description below. Later today on the second channel, going to be talking about one of the many unwatchable teams in the NFL, my Saints. A lot of people in New Orleans are celebrating because Kellen Moore benched Spencer Rattler in the second half yesterday. Fans have been begging to see Tyler Shuck. They have been treating this dude like he is their hero. I can be your hero, baby. Truth is, it doesn't matter who is playing quarterback in New Orleans. Spence Rattler is not the problem. Tyler Shuck is not the solution. I'll point out the real problem in New Orleans, and if this problem goes unresolved, I'll explain why the Saints will be riding the bruised caboose indefinitely. So if you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. I am being dead serious when I say this. Right now, I prefer watching the NBA over the NFL. I am this close. I am this close to being done with the National Football League. Yesterday, my wife asked me why I spend every Sunday watching a league that I do nothing but complain about. I didn't have an answer. Outside of it being a lifelong habit, I don't know why I continue to watch this garbage. I no longer get excited about NFL Sunday. Most Sundays, the games are so boring, I'm not even paying attention. Yesterday, for example, I spent most of the day yesterday reading a book while Red Zone was just on in the background. There were 11 games yesterday on NFL Red Zone. 10 of the 11 games, blowouts. Some of the games were over by halftime. Average margin of victory yesterday, 16 points. And it's not like this is a one-off. I have been complaining about this for the last couple of years. Yet for some reason, no one seems to be talking about it. No one in the media seems to be talking about how boring the NFL has become. Half of the teams in the league are at or below 500. Well, Uncle Casey, that's because there's parity. The league is competitively balanced. Yeah, the league is damn sure balanced. Half the league sucks, and the other half absolutely sucks. Half the league is steaming turds, while the rest are incredibly polished turds. Like I told you guys before, the reason the NFL is struggling, there is a serious decline at the quarterback position. You're not going to hear this from ESPN. You're not going to hear this from crying Ryan Clark or pretend NFL analyst Mina Kimes. They're going to tell you, hey guys, it's me, Ryan C. I'm blown away by the talent in this league. Have you seen Jack Dart? Have you seen Mac Jones? Return of the Mac. Wowzer! These guys are great! Ooga! Ooga! The harsh truth is, when compared to the generation of quarterbacks that we watch for the last 20 years, the vast majority of quarterbacks in the modern NFL are mediocre. And that's putting it politely, because a lot of these dudes suck. Back in 2015, the top 9 or 10 quarterbacks in the league averaged over 270 passing yards a game. I say top 9 or 10 because Matt Schaub's on there, but he only played in 2 games that season. 12 quarterbacks in 2015 threw for over 4,000 yards. Kirk Cousins, Blake Bortles, Ryan Tannehill, Eli Manning, Carson Palmer. These dudes were considered to be mid-tier quarterbacks, but if they were playing in the NFL right now, they would be the top quarterbacks in the league. This season, there is not a quarterback in the NFL that's averaging 270 passing yards a game. Not one. Right now, we are on pace to have just 4 quarterbacks eclipsing 4,000 yards. 10 to 15 years ago, we had dudes eclipsing 5,000 yards. There are quarterbacks playing today who barely eclipse 5,000 passing yards in 2 seasons combined. Look, I'm not saying that gambling is not a problem in the NFL. The disease of gambling is definitely a problem in the league. But the NBA has the exact same problem, and somehow the NBA still finds a way to be entertaining. You could make the case that the level of skill in the NBA is higher today than it was 20 or 30 years ago. Now, obviously, not everyone would agree with that, but you could at least make the case. You can't make that same case in the NFL. The level of skill in this league has significantly regressed. There are wide receivers who can't make contested catches. There are offensive linemen who can't stop a steady flow of boogers. I remember when field goals under 50 yards were automatic in the NFL. Hell, for some kickers, anything under 60 yards was considered automatic. Today, there are far too many kickers who struggle to make routine field goals. Hell, some of them can't even make extra points. You watch some of these games, and it looks like teams have no idea what the hell they're doing. It's an unorganized mess. There's a complete lack of preparation. Teams are limited on how much time they can practice. Training camp has turned into summer camp, and it shows every Sunday on the field. To make matters worse, the NFL seems to have a serious problem developing young quarterbacks. You see, high-level elite play at the quarterback position, it can mask a lot of these problems. When Drew Brees was in New Orleans, it did not matter who was on the field. Marcus Colston gets injured. Oh well, still got Lance Moore, Devery Henderson, Jeremy Shockey, the bum off the practice squad. There were so many games where Drew Brees had completed passes to 7 different receivers in the first quarter. I don't know if Spence Rattler has thrown to 7 different receivers and we're halfway through the season. Well, KC, you complain about it, but you're not offering any solution. Yeah, unlike Mina Kimes, I don't pretend to have the ability to analyze the NFL. People much smarter than I am, people who were involved when the league was playing at the highest level, they need to be involved with the solution. But I continue to complain about it because everyone else seems to be okay watching mediocrity. No one else seems to be talking about the massive decline that we are seeing in this league. We are 8 weeks through the regular season, outside of week 1, which was incredible, but outside of week 1, most of the other 7 weeks have been absolute garbage. From week 2 through week 8, there have been 104 games played in the NFL. 52 of those games have been blowouts. 52 of those games have been decided by 10 points or more. Yet, for some reason, no one wants to talk about it. No one seems to care. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.